Chapter 11, Module 11, Decision Making. Decision making is the process of developing a commitment to some course of action. It involves making a choice, a problem-solving process, and committing resources. A problem is a perceived gap between an existing state and a desired state. In a well-structured problem, the existing state is clear, the desired state is clear, and how to get from one state to the other is fairly obvious. A program is a standardized way of solving a well-structured problem. Difficulties with programmed decision-making. Was the process good? Have problem conditions changed? With ill-structured problems, the existing and desired states are unclear, and the method of getting to the desired state is unknown. Ill-structured problems are unique, complex, and involve a high degree of uncertainty. In this graph, we can see the rational decision-making process. It starts with identifying a problem. Number one, identify a problem, then search for relevant information. After relevant information is found, develop alternative solutions to the problem, then evaluate alternative solutions. Step number 5, choose the best solution. Step number 6, implement chosen solution. And the last step is monitor and evaluate the chosen solution. Perfect rationality, a decision strategy that is completely informed, perfectly logical, and oriented toward economic gain. Bounded rationality, a decision strategy that relies on limited information and that reflects time constraints and political considerations. Framing, aspects of the presentation of information about a problem that are assumed by decision makers. Framing the problem incorrectly often predetermines the decision. Cognitive biases, tendencies to acquire and process information in an error-prone way. Problem identification is often constrained by our bounded rationality. Framing difficulties include perceptual defense against unpleasantness, problem defined in terms of functional specialty, problem defined in terms of solution, problem diagnosed in terms of symptoms. When a problem is identified, an information search needs to be conducted. Helps clarify the nature or extent of problem, begins to suggest alternative solutions. Cognitive biases may cause us to seek too little information, or only information that conforms to our own biases. Confirmation bias. Information overload. Receiving more information than it is necessary to make effective decisions may cause confusion, delays, errors, or omissions. Alternative development, evaluation, and choice. Maximization is choosing the decision alternative with the greatest expected value. Anchoring effect is the inadequate adjustment of subsequent estimates from an initial estimate that serves as an anchor. We maximize decisions by reducing cognitive biases. Make people accountable for their decisions before the decision is reached. Rational decision-making considers only economic gain. Decisions bounded by reality may have another criteria: political acceptability. Decision makers often end up establishing an adequate level of acceptability for a solution to a problem, and then screening solutions until one that exceeds this level is found. Choosing between alternatives involves risk. Chosen solutions may be the result of how alternatives are framed. Solution implementation is often carried out by others. Decision makers must be sensitive to their abilities, motivations, and constraints. Evaluating solutions. Does the new existing state match desired state? Is the solution effective? Is a faulty decision being justified or ignored? Evaluating solutions. Sunk costs are permanent losses of resources incurred as the result of a decision. Escalation of commitment is a tendency to invest additional resources in an apparently failing course of action. Is it bad to change one's mind? What situational causes, moods, emotions are at play? Preventing escalation of commitment. Encourage continuous reframing of the problem. Set specific goals that must be met before resources are invested in a project. Place more emphasis on evaluating decision process and less on decision outcomes. Separate initial and subsequent decision making. Hindsight is the tendency to review the decision making process to find what was done right or wrong. Can also be inhibited by cognitive biases. People often become emotionally attached to their decisions. Emotions that can help make better decisions. Examples: ethics, intuition. Emotions can also cause people to have overconfidence or continue to support a failing course of action. Mood is a mild and focused state of positive or negative feelings. Also impacts decision making. People in positive moods tend to remember positive information, tend to evaluate all things more positively, overestimate the probability of good events happening, and underestimate the probability of bad events. People in positive moods adopt simplified, shortcut decision strategies, promote more creative, intuitive decision making. People in negative moods tend to do the opposite. Controlled optimism can lead to more creative decisions. Controlled pessimism can lead to more careful, effective information processing. Here we see a graph which shows perfectly rational decision-making contrasted with bounded rationality. We have three columns: stages of the problem, perfect rationality, bounded rationality, problem identification. In perfect rationality, we have easy, accurate perception of gaps that constitute problems. In bounded rationality, we have perceptual defense, jump to solutions, attention to symptoms rather than problems. Mood affects memory. Information search in the stage of information search. In perfect rationality, we have free, fast, right amount obtained. And in bounded rationality, we have slow, costly reliance on flawed memory, obtain too little or too much information. In the development of alternative solutions, can conceive of all in perfect rationality, whereas bounded rationality, not all is known, or not every alternative solution is known. Evaluation, the stage of evaluation of alternative solutions. Perfect rationality, ultimate value of each known, probability of each known, only criterion is economic gain. In bounded rationality, we have potential ignorance of or miscalculation of values and probabilities. Criteria include political factors affected by mood. In the stage of solution choice, perfect rationality maximizes it, and in bounded rationality, it satisfies it. In the solution and implementation stage, perfect rationality considered in evaluation of alternatives. In bounded rationality may be difficult owing to reliance on others. In the last stage, solution evaluation. In perfect rationality, we have objective according to previous steps. It's objective. And in bounded rationality may involve justification, escalation to recover some costs, and faulty hindsight. Consider emotions and mood affect decision making. Summary of cognitive biases in decision making. Here we have a graph. Decision makers tend to be overconfident about the decisions that they make. Decision makers tend to seek out information that confirms their own problem definitions and solutions. That is confirmation bias. Decision makers tend to remember and incorporate vivid, recent events into their decisions. Decision makers fail to incorporate known existing data about the likelihood of events into their decision. Decision makers ignore sample sizes when evaluating samples of information. Decision makers overestimate the odds of complex chains of events occurring. Decision makers do not adjust estimates enough from some initial estimate that serves as an anchor as they acquire more information. I will repeat this one. Decision makers do not adjust estimate enough from some initial estimate that serves as an anchor as they acquire more information. That is the anchoring effect. Decision makers have difficulty ignoring sunk costs when making subsequent decisions. And lastly, decision makers overestimate their ability to have predicted events after the fact, take responsibility for success decision outcomes, and deny responsibility for unsuccessful outcomes. That is called hindsight.